I've never been more excited in my life.
That's hotter than a Shakira music video, dude.
What's up, truckers? Today we are interviewing social media sensation Jesse Baremore. This guy's got more likes and followers than a Grateful Dead tour. He hits the videos hard and the miles even harder. And here comes our episode of Drivers, Dinos, and Discomfort.
It gets hotter as we go along.
Okay.
And so you're gonna ask me questions, and then before I have a chance to collect my thoughts, my mouth will be on fire.
Perfect.
Yes.
And I have to ask the question as my mouth gets.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. This is fun. I love it.
This is a completely original idea from Matt Ellsworth. If anyone starts copying this idea, we are going to litigate.
So I guess we just started. I mean, I think you've driven here. I guess I'll do a small intro. Jesse's been with us for 4 going on 5 years.
Yes.
I've been with the company 11 years now. That's why I asked you first. I just wanted to, kind of one up here. Let's go. Let's start with Dino Nugget number 1. We got a mild buffalo.
So I guess we're gonna eat it first, and then
we gotta eat the whole thing.
give it cheers. Cheers.
You want to know what's? I know I'm not supposed to ask a question until I'm done, but the only thing that could make a Dino Nugget worse is a microwaved Dino Nugget, and then it gets cold.
And I'm really thankful that didn't happen in this instance.
All right.
I almost feel as though I could still answer a question, so things are good.
Yeah, no. I'm good with this one. We should just stop. So first question, Jesse. What got you into trucking? From this.
Whoa.
That
kind of interview?
Yeah, we're going for it.
Oh, you said trucking. I thought you said the other thing.
Oh.
Same answer though. Just women. Lots of women.
There you go.
No. I grew up around trucks. My dad was a logger.
Yeah.
So it was like equipment and logs coming out of the woods all the time. And then I also grew up around a lot of ag. There's always farm equipment, hay, that kind of stuff that was going around. When I was a teenager, I worked for this Mennonite farm. That doesn't matter, but Mennonites are fun to work for because they have high expectations that I could never meet. But he, what's crazy is an aside, he had me doing this job where I took apart, he would buy old tractors, pull them out of fields, and we would strip them down and then completely restore them.
Wow.
And I was the guy that took them all apart. But his son was 11 years old, and he was my boss.
That's crazy.
And one time I was like, hey, I asked him to get me a wrench. I was like, give me an 1 1/4 wrench. And he looked at the bolt and he was like, that's 1 1/8. And I've known that since I was 9. And I was like, well, I cannot compete in this market. So I had to get out of there. But one thing we were doing, we were cutting up, scrap market was really high. We were cutting up a bunch of scrap cars and hauling them off.
Yeah.
And I was doing some math, and I was like, man, if I could drive these down myself, get a cheap truck and trailer, I could do 2 loads a week. But I didn't have an interstate license. So I ended up getting signed up with one of those big carrier companies, signed my contract. I was like, I'll work for them for 9 months, and then I'll work for myself. And then I liked being over the road so much, I forgot all about cutting up scrap cars.
Yeah.
I was like, no,
Until just now.
Yeah, so just now, yeah. Yeah, I just started trucking and pretty much stuck with it ever since.
Yeah. And being in your family, the generational, it seems like you kind of see that a lot. There's some pride behind that, and I think that's coming back in the industry too. There's
you see a lot more of it. Guys will reference I hear guys and gals even oftentimes reference really early memories of life, being involved with equipment or trucks, and then it sits in their brain.
It does, yeah. It's instilled from you don't even have any other memories from as a kid, but you remember when your dad got home and he was pulling down the driveway, it's the littlest things, and
sounds of the jigs
going to hop in the truck and climb through it, and that's it seems
that's
like
cool
really
stuff.
a lot. Well, cool. Anything else you want to add to that?
I just really hope that this next one is less spicy than the first one.
I hope we started at the wrong end.
Is this the hottest? Oh, I'm good to go.
All right, well, let's go hot buffalo now. So that was mild. I guess we're going to go hot buffalo dyno.
Don't forget to touch my
I
dyno.
know. I think it's the thing. That's just roll it. You're just doing the whole thing at once. Like, you're not.
Yeah.
Not even warming up to it.
How else would you do it?
I did half, but I'm kind of.
There's an old saying.
Quizzing.
There's only one way to eat a dinosaur.
Okay.
With one bite.
I don't think that's an old saying, but.
How old are dinosaurs?
Fair enough. Right.
It's not a new saying.
I'll try to give that.
That's a 4 out of 10.
It's still, it's a 4 out of 10, yeah. Wow. That was actually good.
The good news is there was flavor in that.
Yeah.
The bad news is I've officially met my tolerance level. So the next 3 should be off the hook.
So this, we'll ask this one with the hot buffalo. I mean, if you could pick like one load or one trip, what was like the most memorable for you? What's one that just stands out above all the rest?
How much time do we have? Let me tell you this. I have 2 that stand out in my mind as
Okay, we can go with 2.
very memorable. One was when I was in Shelby, Montana, and Trent promised me a reload that was going to get me home.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I deadheaded towards that reload where I was going to go home, he made me go back to Shelby, Montana and go the complete opposite direction. And then I spent 45 minutes cursing him out on the phone. And I remember that. And then the other one...
So it was a rough experience on that one.
And then another time, Trent Sealer sent me to Gresham, Oregon, probably filling in for you. This never happened to you, but he sent me to Gresham, Oregon on my birthday, and I had to tarp the load, and this guy came over to the tarp machine and he was like, let me show you how to do this. You don't know what you're doing. And he lifted my tarps up, and then the wind picked up and blew both tarps away.
Just across the yard, yeah.
And then he looked at me and he said, I don't have time for this.
Like it
And
was
then he
your
left.
fault?
Yeah. And I was like, this job is really fun. I love it.
You just sent my kites like 200 yards away. Thank you.
And that's the moment I knew I'll flatbed forever.
Yeah.
Conestogas are stupid. It's important for me that I start this answer out by disrespecting Trent. Now that we have that out of the way,
You're good.
we can
feel
move.
better.
Yeah, we can move
Okay.
on.
All right.
I hauled this barn one time from Indiana to Texas, and these Amish kids, and I mean kids, like the oldest one was like 16.
Yeah.
They completely took down this old barn, labeled every piece, hand loaded it onto my truck.
That's crazy.
And then I hauled it to Texas, and then those same kids went down to Texas and rebuilt it.
No way.
And the barn was from 1861, I believe.
Really?
And the cool thing was,
Uh-oh. Yeah, I just got the same thing.
oh man, the guy that I took it to in Texas, it was like his great, however many great grandfathers that had built that barn.
So it was a generational thing.
Yeah.
That is cool.
And it was really cool because there was these beams, like there was one oak beam in there. It was like this hand-hewn
Yeah.
beam. It was just like, I don't know about you, but old wood.
Oh, yeah, seriously.
It's like,
It does something for me.
and those Amish kids, they loved old wood too, so much. They were like, in fact, we love it so much, we will never use like equipment to lift it. We'll always just use our
hand.
hands.
Yeah,
These
exactly.
guys are savages.
It is. We ship for a couple of those places that it's like you go to them. No equipment, no anything. They hand load you. And I swear they're faster than half of the places with all the
I
technology
don't
in the
know
world.
what it is, but it's just like, I have a deep respect for like watching people that are good at what they do.
Yeah.
And it might be the barn guys, and it might even just be the construction guys, but some of those communities, I think it might be that generational thing we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
They start them so early and they're so invested
It's
in it.
instilled in them. So
It's
deep.
just like, it's like watching almost superhuman people. Like they're just so good at their trade.
Yeah.
And then I'm in there like grinding gears, trying to get their driveway.
Running over like part of their mailbox. It's fine.
Then I show up and mess up the whole
Yeah.
vibe.
Like, well, cool.
Yeah, that barn was really cool.
That is cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And just the story behind it, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience, and it was kind of cool too. Just you think about like the truck being like this trucking endeavor I'm doing in the 21st century, like being tied to something from the 19th century.
Yeah.
We could never duplicate that barn now.
No.
It was just kind of cool to hold.
Yeah, no, that is really cool. Oh man. You know what? I think we need to add a little bit of background to this whole video.
Yeah.
So for you and me, we know that it's like 6:30 in the morning.
Right.
And we're eating dino nuggets, but I think we should let the audience know, because I think that's I think this is above and beyond what anybody else has really gone through with this challenge.
I feel like of all flatbed carriers in the United States,
Yeah.
if you just think about like medium-sized flatbedding companies, we're probably the only ones eating hot buffalo sauce right now.
If we're not, I mean,
And if that doesn't show you commitment,
yeah.
then I don't know what else
The
does.
dedication in this room right now is impeccable. I just want to point that out.
Another thing I'd like to add is that a lot of people might make the mistake. There's a lot of people out there that they would get this cutting board out and this table and set up this whole thing like Matt did for us.
Yeah.
Like the great producer that he is. They would make the mistake of like having hot, fresh, deep fried, like chicken wings.
No, it goes back to what I said earlier. There's nothing better than a dino nugget that's been microwaved and then essentially chilled, but not chilled like quick where it's like a good chilled. It's just, we're going to let it
Just
sit
like
out
a
for like
room
30 to
temperature.
45 minutes until it gets like slightly cool.
You want these to never have them be like a good chicken wing.
Yeah.
They need to be dino nuggets.
The worst thing. And it's not even like they were put in the oven again. First of all, like they never got a crunch. Like
You don't want
Basically.
Crunch is overrated. Crunch is
Yeah.
yesteryear.
Yeah.
We're into
Yeah.
sog. We want soggy and room
next time we
temperature.
should just boil them. Alright, let's go on to our next one. So we got this one actually sounds delightful. We got a little lime cilantro. I got a lime cilantro.
I think we
T-Rex. I don't know
changed
what
it up.
you guys
It's
want.
actually supposed to be this one, the jerk, right? We replaced it with?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The green one's the jerk.
Oh, okay. What's this one called for the camera? Should we say?
What's the next one, though?
Bourbon chipotle.
Yeah.
Oh, so we got a bourbon chipotle dino. Which two?
What dinosaur did you get?
Straight T-Rex, bud.
I got an unrecognizable blob.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is my favorite.
That's a Stegosaurus.
That one's really good too. I think the important aspect is don't let it hit your lips on the way in, you know? Don't go too far with that one. Is it touching you?
I'm a Christian man. I would never let a dino touch my lips, especially not at 6:30 in the morning.
Oh.
I would.
Huh. No, I like that one. That's good.
6 out of 10.
Yeah. 6 out of 10.
I like what it's doing to my esophagus. I feel like that's a.
That's the weird part about this. Like, it tastes good, but then as we go through these questions, like, it just slowly hits you. You know, I get the whole concept, but I don't know if I
As
like
I'm
it. But
feeling this, the sensation is. I just have this sudden urge to like update my driver pulse app. I don't know why. That's just like, what am I doing here?
what is happening?
That last dino just gave me an existential crisis. That's how hot this thing is.
So if you could give a new driver starting here at COTC some advice, what would be like, you know, 1 to 2 things that are like so important to keep in mind as you kind of go through the progression of, you know.
Wow. First of all, thank you for the opportunity. It's not me.
I worded that question.
As a 30-year-old child-faced person, I'm not often sought out for advice. So this is like my.
We didn't say we're gonna use it.
I'm flattered.
Yeah.
No, I would say I can speak from experience. Like when I first came here, I think that there's a lot of you will find yourself, or you could find yourself, putting a lot of pressure on yourself to like do really good.
Yeah.
And I would strongly encourage people starting here at Central Oregon, use the resources we have. There's a reason that we have a building full of former drivers that you can call anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Don't struggle through stuff if you don't know what you're doing. Just call.
Yeah.
It's not a situation where it's not like some crazy test where they're trying to make sure that you can do everything on your own. Like, use the resources you have. We see a lot of guys come in and really struggle the first couple of loads sort of unnecessarily because they're unwilling or scared to reach out.
Yeah.
Use the resources we have, build relationships with the people in this building. They're all here to help you. So.
Yeah. Well, and we want to do the same thing. I know me personally, that's one of my favorite parts about the job is getting to know, the driving team beyond just, kind of the surface level.
Yeah.
Because
that
more to life.
is weird because it seems that every time I call you, you'd hang up. You're always like, I gotta go.
I already know you. We're past that.
I know you a little too well.
I'm like, I'm just gonna keep it right where we're at.
Oh God,
we found the line in the sand.
Yeah, use the resources we have.
I think that's great. I think that's great advice. Yeah.
Yeah, the driver coaches we have is sort of a unique program in Central Oregon. Our management works really hard to seek out like good, competent, really professional drivers that they then transition into this office role as coaches. So if you call and you talk to a driver coach, you're talking to someone that's proven themselves in the job that you're starting.
Yeah.
So they're a great resource.
Yeah.
Use them.
Yeah. And they've loaded out of the same place you're maybe struggling at, or
They may have been cursing at the same situation that you're in right now.
Yeah.
And then another piece of advice I would say to anybody that current employees here or anyone starting out is just, to the best of your ability or as time allows, depending on the situation, just be flexible. If you work with them, sometimes it's trucking. Nothing will ever change that. Things never go exactly as planned. If you can kind of ride the waves, the office will ride them with you. But if you get real hung up on small details that changed, you're going to be frustrated and it's going to make it difficult to.
But it is good to communicate those little things too, so it doesn't build into something bigger as well. That's.
In fact,
we see that oftentimes too.
If I had a third thing to add, it would be communicate early. If you run into a problem, communicate it now. Don't sit on it.
Yeah.
And I've been guilty of this.
Yeah.
I've been guilty of letting little things build up and then blowing up and having a really bad day.
Yeah.
Whereas most of these little things, if you just talk to somebody, you'll forget about it.
It's off your chest and done. Yeah. Well, I like it.
Yeah.
Simple, but I think it's exactly what I would say too.
Wow.
That's how good your answer was.
So basically, you're just stealing my answers for later use.
Maybe vice versa. We may never know.
We'll see. We'll see who steals from him. One thing I would like to reiterate for sure, though, is that this idea, this is original and should not be stolen.
It's patented.
We really will come after you. Like, we will litigate. No one better take this idea.
Oh, man. All right, let's go to our next little dino nugget here. So I think this is the
jerk.
This is the jerk one.
This is
we're already through. I mean, we're halfway through the marathon.
That's good news.
This last one has me nervous because when I read this paper, it says something about capsicum.
Capsaicin?
Sure.
I've said this before.
Is that what it is?
I really
Yeah, maybe.
I don't want to be too negative on this video. And this is a video that's being produced by Central Oregon Truck Company, but one thing that I don't appreciate about working here, your guys' vocabulary is absolutely
I read okay.
Yeah, as long as it's spelled okay. You have the AY and you're lost. Dude.
Yeah, what is that?
What is that?
I mean, you're talking to a guy that still types like this. But... all right.
So this is the jerk, huh?
Yeah.
One thing about microwave dino nuggies is there's a very satisfying peel sensation that you get right off the board.
I think satisfying that's kind of a loose term. But
Touch my dyno.
Whatever you want to do, man.
Nothing leaves a man satisfied like a soggy dyno.
This is the worst breakfast I've had in easily my whole life.
I'll tell you this right now, and I said it before, I stand by it. Even that one that's gonna tear me up is still better than Thursday bacon.
Okay.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Boy, there's a lot going on. Oh.
See, the one that I liked about the first three is that they at least tasted good. This one is.
Agree. I can't even put my finger on like what that was.
It looked like a used like infant's diaper,
Oh,
and it tastes similar.
there's something very pungent in that. Like almost like black licorice meets. So the flavor on that was the weirdest thing I've ever had for sure.
Yeah, like I said,
It's not overwhelmingly spicy. I don't think it was just gross.
Speak for yourself. It's gaining on me.
So Jesse, you worked in the office for a bit. What aspect of working in the office helped you over the road as you kind of went from one role to the other? What was one or a couple things that really kind of helped that transition and something that you could share with somebody to kind of help that relationship?
Oh man.
I don't even know what I really just asked. I just keep thinking
I
about
know.
this.
I know there was a question. I actually just gaining on me. Yeah, so working in the office was a riot. I don't know if you know Matt Ellsworth.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
He's the one producing this video. I used to work for him.
Yeah.
And didn't go so good. He yelled at me a lot.
He's the meanest guy I know for sure.
Yeah, he was just always like, I was like, I gotta get out of here. No, I think, I drove for this company and then I came into the office after driving for the company.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really interesting because, as a driver, I think we're all guilty of it to some extent, but you get like myopic, which is a fancy word for tunnel vision.
You did that on purpose.
I did, yeah.
You looked that up before we started this whole video.
Correct,
You've
yeah.
never used that word a day in your life before this.
You gotta play the cards you're dealt, man. I think as drivers, it's really easy to get wrapped up in your truck, in your load.
Yeah.
You're looking out the windshield and things are going crazy and you're trying to figure it out at a shipper or a receiver, or maybe the plan isn't going quite the way you want it to. And it's really easy to get so wrapped up in that you forget that on the other side of that is someone that's planning 20, 30 other trucks that day.
Yeah.
And not to say that that's like one is worse or better than the other, but
Correct.
sometimes
it's a different challenge. So.
Being in the office, I was able to see firsthand you guys, how hard you worked to get every truck, filled in the direction they need to go.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's trucking, like not every plan for every truck is always gonna go A-okay.
Yep.
And so when you're the driver that you happen to be the unlucky one where it didn't go A-okay,
Yeah.
you might feel picked on, or I'm being singled out, or and it's just like, being in the office gave me the insight to realize that you guys probably could never get coordinated enough to single out drivers for punishing loads, because it's just like there's so much going on.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, I was able to witness in the office just like the great lengths that you all will go to make sure that stuff goes well for drivers. And I think that drivers often don't see that.
Yeah.
And I can think of like lots of scenarios and specific situations where the company's gone above and beyond to make sure that a driver's taken care of. They get home, you guys buy plane tickets, rental cars, and the U-Haul truck one time, I remember, just to make sure if something's going down that our drivers are taken care of. And frankly, I don't know that there's a lot of companies that would go to the lengths that our staff will go to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was pretty cool to see. So then going from that to going back out on the road, I think it gave me a better perspective about how to be a better teammate for you guys. I find that I'm usually able to
I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's me. It might get delusional right now. I don't know if I'm staring off into space anyway. So.
Yeah, taking that perspective out on the road is cool because it allows me to be like a little more proactive in dealing with you guys, understanding a little bit better how the freight moves and what I might be heading into. You know, how it might be looking on your side makes it, hopefully, to where I work better with you guys than I had before.
Yeah. No, sure. I definitely think so. And it's that's a joint thing, right? The same goes for us in the office, which is why we put, all of our, people, new hires through orientation. Is it a full glimpse into the world? No. But I had the tarp load when I first started here. I didn't really know anything about transportation. I'm like, what did I just sign up for? Like, I thought I got a desk job and I'm back there like, working a load and figuring out, how to tarp a load and, secure a load. And I'm like, this is crazy. But it was great insight just to, like I said, a very little aspect, but an aspect of, what does go into your job as well.
Yeah.
So I think just having that appreciation is huge.
I think too that maybe a lot, like, being, when I was in here every day, was able to see, I just saw stuff that maybe our average driver wouldn't see because they're out on the road making money, working for us. But I've watched a lot of people in this building one thing that brings me a lot of pride about working here is I know that you guys in management and just anybody in this building is gonna be willing to pitch in and they work really hard. I've watched Luke Williams go out and clean trucks.
Yeah.
If the cook is gone, I've watched you guys go back there and cook breakfast for you guys. That stuff is like, to me, is a pretty powerful message. Like, everybody here is willing to step in and do some work. So if you're out there struggling to tarp a load or something, if a Dylan or a Matt or a Luke was out there, I'm pretty sure they'd be right there with you helping out.
Yeah, well, and the vice versa, that goes for our driving team. And I think it just shows like our team, who we really are. It's like it's a unit. You can't do your job without me. I can't do my job without you, right? And that respect level, knowing that, but also just, our drivers out on the road. I've countless times had, a seasoned driver or maybe even a newer driver, but just has a little more experience with tarping, helping a guy that's having a rough day, just willing to do that, Yeah, it's 30, 45 minutes out of his day, but it makes that guy, it saves him 3 hours, you know what I mean?
As an aside, one of the first exposure I had to this company, I was working for a different carrier, Holland Vans, and I ran into two of your drivers that were delivering the same place I was. I was backed into a dock and they were out there doing flatbed stuff. But I noticed that two Central Oregon guys pulled in and they both were helping each other with their loads. Yeah. And that spoke volumes to me because in the life of trucking out there, truckers know, like, it's every man for himself usually. And the camaraderie that we have in these green trucks is awesome. It's like seldom ever do I show up with other Central Oregon guys where we don't at least offer to help each other.
Exactly, yeah. And sometimes it just doesn't make sense because of the things, but it doesn't mean
we're there for
interaction. Exactly.
And we've really fostered that culture. And like I said, it's into the office too, because everybody in here is willing to pitch in outside their job function to keep things going, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to keep asking questions.
We're trying to just avoid.
This is El Jefe sauce. I mean, that's scary in itself.
How's your Spanish? I know your English sucks.
Well, I was going to say El Jefe sauce for you since your little comment earlier, but I decided to, really go for it. So this is
El Jefe, which is Spanish for hot as balls.
In quotations, this is an arsenal. So not just like a small handful of each. This is an arsenal of jalapeno and habanero peppers. And then they finish it with a hefty pour of capsaicin extract. So that, sounds horrible. The best part is also in the description. It says this doubles as a bear repellent. So
we're in danger.
It's nice knowing everybody. All right. On that note, let's just get this done with.
Yeah.
I've never been more excited in my life.
It's a very good.
Oh my god.
That doesn't even.
Shut up. Yeah. Give it a second.
I'm not even finished. This would barely repel any kind of bear.
Oh my gosh. That's there's a lot going on in that one. Oh.
That's hotter than a Shakira music video, dude. Holy smokes.
Was that your like childhood crush too?
Shakira?
Yeah.
Dude, I've been looking for those truthful hips my entire life, dude. Never found them.
Oh my gosh. On that note, the best part about this is I don't really have a question, but I guess just what's just kind of open floor to you. Oh my gosh, man. My tongue feels like it's like swelling up right now. I don't know about you. Anyways, just kind of open floor to you. What? You want to share some wisdom? You just want to die for a second? Because that's what I want to do.
Just as like a PSA to our driving team, if Matt Ellsworth ever says, hey, at 6:30 in the morning we're going to do a fun little thing, tell him to right.
Oh, man. Just don't touch your eyeballs, man. Oh my gosh, dude.
Dylan,
Yeah.
your dreamy blue eyes are going red.
You weren't crying a second ago.
I'm crying because I love this country and this company.
That's deep, man. Wow.
I'm crying because Trent Sealer's on vacation.
Oh, I don't feel like that was that wasn't a progression. We were like on the freeway, like doing good, and then like boom, like herd of elk runs out right in front of you. You know, that was not.
Oh my gosh. Dylan, let me ask you a question.
All right, this sounds fun.
Tell me about your most memorable load at Central Oregon that you dispatched. Some crazy going down.
You know, I don't know if it's a load I dispatched that was the most memorable, but it was I was a part of it. There was what was it? I think it was like 9 years ago. It was actually Christmas, so right around now.
There he goes, pulling out his 10-year card again. We get it. Been here a long
May have
time.
been like 10 and a half, 11 years. It was right before Christmas. We had a guy broke down. He lived out in Montana, and he was on a load coming to Central Oregon here. And we're like, well, obviously he's gonna miss his reload. Like we're kind of hosed, and you know he had.
You can edit that.
We were trying to figure out a way to get him home, and there was like, I think we looked at rental cars, we looked to get him a ride, it was just not, it wasn't gonna happen. So, actually the CEO of the company at the time, Rick, we had a load down at Gilcrest, and he went down, him and I think Brad maybe, or somebody else, they went down, got the load loaded, remember they brought it back to the yard here, and then we all chipped in at tarping it and getting it ready. So when the driver came in, all he had to do was drop his trailer, grab that loaded trailer, and boogie towards the house. And it was just memorable for me because I had never worked for a company that not only says they care, but actually like live up to it. You know, everybody says they're like the family company and they'll do anything, right? But that was like a moment for me that stood out where I'm like, wow, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I witnessed that too. Like I said, it's really cool to think about everybody pitching in just to make sure a guy gets home on time.
Yeah.
I really like that once every 10 years, you'll go out there and pitch in and help.
You know, I gotta knock the rust off every now and then.
11 years.
11 years.
I think, kind of like on a serious note, like one thing that really sticks out to me is pretty shortly after I started here, we had a teammate that actually passed away in the truck over the road.
Yeah.
It's really sad, and I was sort of involved with that because I ended up bringing his equipment back.
Yeah.
And I saw everybody from Rick to HR, everybody was so helpful in getting his stuff back to his family, and I just really appreciated like the level of respect and how much everybody truly like was willing to help out the family. And I was thinking, you know, I really don't want to pass away working for anybody. But if I gotta do it, here's not a bad place to do it.
Yeah. No, I think it like you said, it just speaks volumes to who we aren't perfect, right? You've experienced that, I've experienced that, I've been that person.
Mostly with you, especially with you, yeah.
That's fair. Oh, it actually doesn't linger too bad. I mean, it's sad, but
sure. You've worked here twice as long as me, and the half-life of capsaicin is shorter for you. That's nice. That's wonderful.
Oh, I mean, I think.
Is my hair distracting? I should probably. That's
like you're gonna do something about it. We've been asking you to cut it for like 6 years now.
Well, you should put that in my contract.
There's a new complete that you just have to sign. Yeah, appreciate your time. It wasn't fun, but we did it, so.
Yeah, I nominate Trent Sealer for the next.
Yeah.
Have you seen that guy eat hot stuff?
Yeah, I watched him do the blue chip challenge. Yeah.
That's why that guy is insane.
He is, yes.
Stall number 2 doesn't fare too good afterwards.